All right, so AI has a terrible problem, and it's one that can't be fixed. Have you ever noticed how AI can write you a poem about heartbreak, but it's never actually experienced a heartbreak? Well, it seems like that might just be a small thing, but it's actually a big fundamental flaw. See, after building software for a long time, I've seen technologies rise and fall, but AI faces a challenge unlike anything before because there's a hard ceiling it can't break through no matter how much computing power we throw at it. Tech bros don't want to admit it, but we're approaching the limits of what pattern recognition alone can achieve, and that's all AI really is under the hood. So today I'm going to show you exactly what this AI hype train is headed for a wall that no amount of venture capital can break through. Let's dive into this today. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer Thomason. Here at Startup Hack, we train software developers in licensed coding boot camps, as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, so AI tools mimic emotion, but they don't truly understand the human emotion. They pattern match text without grasping the weight behind our words, right? So this isn't just philosophical. It creates a real functional limitation. So no amount of parameter scaling can bridge this experience gap, right? And the just add more data approach has diminishing returns the more and more data we add to it. And that's not even mentioning that the more data we add to it, the more likely we're going to get bad data in there. So we're definitely seeing sophisticated mimicry, not genuine understanding, right? So it's mimicking these words, but it's not really understanding a lot of them, right? So there's this whole counter argument that we're going to talk a little bit about here, right? There's this calculator argument, right? And it says calculators don't feel math, and that argument kind of misses the point, right? Language isn't like mathematics. It's rooted in shared human experiences. Math has clear right and wrong answers. Language is contextual and ambiguous. Reinforcement learning can't overcome the fundamental ground of truth. AI predicts what humans find convincing, but that's not actually true, right? So current architectures face a capability ceiling that no amount of parameters tuning can fix, right? See, we have a training data wall. There's a high quality set of training data, but we're running out of it, right? Most accessible internet content has already been scraped. Most books have already been, I might add, illegally fed into these machines, and new content creation can't keep up with the pace of AI's hunger, right? And the other problem that we're seeing is AI is the source of a lot of the new generated content. And because of that, the AI is actually feeding itself, which comes into a huge part of problems. Companies are facing diminishing returns with these larger models. Now, you have to have the large models to have the small models, but they're seeing a diminished return. We can get bigger and bigger data sets, but it's not actually coming into smarter AI. So we're definitely hitting resource constraints similar to other tech cycles. So even tech giants with unlimited resources are hitting this wall. Now, many AI models train on content without proper consent. And this is another ethical concern, right? Legal challenges from authors and creators are starting to really mount. The free training data pool is rapidly shrinking. Companies face painful choices, either scale back, pay up, or face lawsuits, right? So we recently have learned that Meta, the founder of Facebook and Instagram, have downloaded pretty much every BitTorrent of book out there they can be. And now all of these are copyrighted. So there's a whole lot of discussion around copyright being old, but at this point it still is law. And there's a lot of people who are producing this content that are unhappy that this is being stolen and put into the training models. So this isn't just a speed bump. It's a fundamental problem that might have to really run into some things, right? So the move fast and break things era is really kind of starting to end for AI. And we're going to start to see these lawsuits start to really mount up. Now, if your company has systems that aren't connected, let us help you out, because here at Startup Hack, our specialty is connecting systems so your company can work like a well-oiled machine. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer, because we'd love to help you out. Now, one of the other problems that we're seeing here is the context window problem, right? AI can only see a limited amount of text at one time. Yes, it's trained on this other stuff, so it can do the pattern matching against it, but the amount of things you can actually feed into it is limited by what we call the context window. Even advanced models process at just a few 100,000 pages at most. Complex real-world tasks require vast more context, right? So it's trying to compete against a human, which can have years and years and years of context. And And, generally, if I understand a business, I understand the context of that business, right? So complex real world tasks require vastly more context. Expanding windows creates fundamental architectural changes, and this also is a limit that we're starting to hit. AI develops memory fog as context grows, right? These limitations cause predictable errors, and this is a lot of the cause we see of hallucination. Now, these models have gotten a lot better at hallucination because the context windows have gotten bigger. So it can start to recognize that it's repeating itself in things. But this is becoming a big problem, right? AI excels at syntax, for instance, with like software development, right? AI excels at syntax, but it struggles to understand system level understanding. Developers spend more time fixing AI generated bugs than if they'd just written the code themselves. AI can't grasp how different components interact holistically, right? So you've got system A working with system B, and maybe system B is always slow. Well, a human can understand that and can write accordingly. AI is not going to have that context, right? Human debugging draws on experience and architectural knowledge. AI lacks this deep contextual understanding of system approaches. So to put this into layman terms, let's say you walk into the middle of a conversation and everybody's laughing. You're like, hey, what's so funny? And they're like, well, it's kind of an inside joke, right? This is the kind of thing that AI can't understand. It wouldn't understand this inside joke. So this is where you can start to see a context window really starting to hit the limit, because at the end of the day, you can only feed so much data into to solve this particular problem, right? Now, if your company has problems getting, that are slowing you down and aren't letting you drive your systems because you don't have connected systems, or your dev team's struggling, reach out to us, because here at startuphack.com, we love to help you guys. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer, and we can deploy either I can come in and do some consulting, I can deploy some of my senior developers to help with some consulting, or we can even help you as far as deploying full teams. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer, because this is our specialty. Now, the hallucination problem. AI confidently generates false information that it can't verify. And this is one of the big problems with AI, because it's going to tell you something and it's going to seem like it's true. And as you read the words, you might be like, oh, that seems right. But actually, it can be fundamentally wrong. And so how confidently wrong AI is one of its big problems. There's no current technical solution that exists for this fundamental issue. These aren't just occasional glitches. They're actually architectural flaws in the way AI works. Adding more parameters actually increases the certain hallucination types. So medical and legal applications face some dangerous consequences from this, right? My son recently broke his arm. I fed in the x-rays and asked, hey, is there a fracture in these bones? And it came back very confidently and said, no, there's no fracture. Well, the doctor came in and said, actually, there's a fracture right here, zooms in on it, circles it. So I grab it, take a picture of it, zoom in, says, hey, there's a break right here. I actually feed it back into the models and say, there's a break right here. And it replies back and still says, this looks like a healthy arm. We don't detect any fractures in these bones. So this is an example of where I wouldn't trust this thing with medical stuff for a long time. So there's also a signal to noise data ratio, right? As high quality data gets used up, models trained on lower quality data simply because we're trying to add more and more to get them bigger. So auto-generated SEO junk and repetitive social media clutter this data pool. Models increasingly train on output from other AI systems, creating a feedback loop. This data pollution leads to degraded performance over time. It's like trying to learn from increasingly blurry photocopies. The cleanest, most valuable data has already been harvested. Now, if your company's struggling because some of its data isn't matching up, reach out to us, because here at Startup Hack, our specialty is helping you get your data systems connected. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer. Now, the knowledge cutoff dilemma is really a big problem. AI systems are frozen in time at their training cutoff, right? Where keeping models current requires constant retraining at enormous costs. The knowledge gap widens daily after training stops. This creates a practical ceiling on AI's real-world usefulness, right? Now, there's also an abstraction layer problem. AI can't build genuinely new abstractions beyond its training. True innovation requires breaking free from existing patterns. Human creativity jumps between abstraction levels naturally. So AI struggles with this meta learning that's needed for true innovation. So after a lot of years in tech, and I've been in it for over 25 years, I've seen breakthroughs that require full paradigm shifts, right? And this is usually where you see it, whereas AI is just going to regurgitate the same stuff back over to you. So AI excels at exploring existing spaces, but it can't define new ones. Now, I've only touched on a couple of these walls that we're starting to hit on, but I think we're going to see more and more of these walls. So we're going to genuinely see this slowdown, and what you're going to start hearing a lot about is the AI bubble bursting. Now, I think, like Linus Torvald, we're like 10% reality and 90% market hype. That 10% does have a lot of useful applications. So make sure you like and subscribe, because we've got some great playlists. I've got about a half a dozen videos already, and I'm making more about how to build AI agents using LLMs, which are free, and building low-end machines that can do high-end processing of tasks that wouldn't have even been possible a few years ago. So check out the Startup Pack, and make sure you like and subscribe, because I'm bringing you a lot of great content here. Now, what do you think? The best compliment I get is when you guys leave me a comment. So make sure you hit a comment down below. If nothing else, just to say hi. Here at Startup Pack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps, as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. So reach out, because we'd love to help. Check out startuppack.com/Spencer, and we can help your team out. And otherwise, here's some great information about our coding boot camps.
Want to become a software developer but don't want to spend 4 years in college and rack up massive student loan debts? Think you need technical expertise to get started? Welcome to Startup Hack, a better way to start your software career without student loans and years without income. One-on-one tutoring is included, so you never get stuck and have guidance through the whole process. No technical experience is necessary. Learn at your own pace and in your own space. Startup Hack has worked with local state agencies in your area to make it so that qualifying students can get the program costs covered entirely, and students can start earning while they learn.
Startup Hack's .NET Coding Bootcamp was a game changer for my career. As someone with no prior programming experience, I was initially intimidated by the idea of learning to code, but the instructors at Startup Hack broke down complex concepts into easy to understand lessons and provided hands-on projects that really cemented my understanding. The curriculum was comprehensive and up to date and got me ready for my first job. What really set Startup Hack apart was the focus on practical, real-world skills. Thanks to Startup Hack, I landed my dream job as a .NET developer within weeks of graduating. I went from knowing nothing about code to building professional-grade web applications in just a few intense months. If you're looking to break into .NET development or level up your coding skills, I cannot recommend Startup Hack enough.
Complete our 3-month coding bootcamp, gain hands-on experience, and land a paid internship. With 2 years of experience, on average, our graduates are making over $80,000 per year. The 3-month program includes technologies from Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. No debt, just a quick path to earning. Check out startuphack.com to code your future and start today.